an information board conveying several simple but confounding facts. That the ground I was walking on was the remains of a long-vanished, prehistoric ocean. That this ocean had disappeared shortly after the end of the age of the dinosaurs. That whenever you are standing on chalk, you are standing where the sea used to be. Wanting to know more, I visited the Natural History Museum in South Kensington and smaller, local museums where rows of specimens were displayed in dusty cabinets with narrow labels written out on long, defunct typewriters. I read introductions to geology and talked to sedimentologists and stratigraphers and paleontologists. I joined field trips to quarries and exposed cliff faces, and learned that the history of deep time is written in the rocks all around and underneath us. In a lump of chalk, I found a milky grey spherical sea sponge the size of my smallest fingernail, its surface pricked with countless tiny holes. I read that some scientists believe that sponges were the first animal group to branch off the evolutionary tree from our common ancestor, making them the sister group of all other animals. Several years after that trip to the North Downs, I stood one summer afternoon peering through the chain-link fence of a building site on Cambridge Heath Road in East London. It was a little after 5 p.m., and the workmen had gone for the day, leaving behind just a solitary excavator looking, as excavators do, a little beastish with its drooping, angular neck and large metal jaw resting on top of a mound of dark earth. It was the hole the excavator had dug that I was interested in. Walking around London, we know, if we care to think about it, that beneath our feet are many layers of rock, most of which have never seen by human eyes because there were no eyes to see them when they were first formed, or through the long story of them being buried and hidden and lost. Anyone with a thirst to tread on terra incognita might as well dig downwards in their own back garden as travel to the middle of Antarctica. Geologists learn to read these layers and from them construct a story about the past. Each layer represents a former world that came into being, existed for thousands or millions of years, and then vanished, compressed into a layer of rock. Most humans are chronophobes, the geologist Marcia Bionared has written. We worry about where the time has gone, whether we're spending it wisely, how much of it we have left. Geology puts things into temporal perspective. An excavation in the middle of the city is a portal to the past, a space to look backwards and recalibrate. For the last month I'd been searching for such a site. Then Johnny, my husband, messaged me from his office. On the train into Liverpool Street he'd spotted the excavation on Cambridge Heath. The sides of the hole showed 3 distinct layers of earth and rock set neatly on top of one another, like a layered pink, white, and yellow angel cake. The preciseness of the layers gave the appearance of an illustrative diagram in a geology textbook. The top layer was about 1 meter deep, a confusion of pale greyish-brown earth filled with fragments of broken orange and dusty pink brickwork, lumps of black tarmac and knobby clumps of cement. This is what geologists call made ground. In a city, it's the stuff that will have been constantly rehashed, recycled, and added to by successive generations. Made ground is human history, like the artefacts in the V&A Museum of Childhood across the road, where, when I was a child, my parents sometimes took me on a wet Saturday afternoon. If, I suppose I should write when, we disappear from this planet, the made ground is one of the things we'll leave behind. A footprint, a sign saying, "We were here." The layer below the made ground was damp sand and gravel the colour of yellow sponge cake soaked in tea. We know that this layer is older than the made ground because of the work of a 17th century Danish doctor, Niels Stensen, better known as Nicholas Steno, studying the formation of sedimentary rocks such